Live video is starting. Love it. Okay, here we are. We made it this far, day 4 of the Design Your Greatest Life Challenge. And I'm really excited for today because we're starting to get into that territory where we are actually taking steps, right? We're actually being active towards all the things that we want to create. So let me just say that Mia is sending her love today. She had a speaking engagement that's been scheduled for quite a long time, and so we knew that today it was just going to be me and you guys, and which is beautiful. But she does send her love and wanted to, just really celebrate all of you who are showing up inside the challenge and doing really amazing work. So let's get on to day 4, which is the third step of this process, and it is organizing your brainstorm from yesterday, right? We're going to take all of that information, all of those beautiful things that you discovered that can help you reach the goal that you've decided that you are really passionate about. And we're going to start breaking that down into really small, actionable steps that you can start to take today. And it sounds so simple, but there really is something very special about the way we're going to go about it. Um, we're going to take, again, that list of the brainstorm, right? And we're going to break down each bigger category, each bigger task that we identified that we wanted to take. And we're going to break it down into things that you can do in 10 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever kind of, intervals make sense for you. Now, this is, I'm going to give you an example. But first of all, I just really want to say, all too often people will come to us and they'll say, I've had this dream for years, or, for decades, ever since I was a kid. Or they might say, this is on my mind. I really don't like my job, or my relationship has been, kind of just going through the motions for a long time. I don't know how to change it, right? And they keep putting it off, thinking that, oh, when I get some time, I'll devote my energy to that, or those kind of someday ideas. And really, it's, the next thing we know, we wake up, it's 5 or 10 years later, and we're in the exact same position that we were, wondering, if it's possible, wondering if it's too late to actually make that change. And so the way we're going to go about it is the way that we do everything, which is, just looking at the next step that's in front of us. We don't have to know exactly how everything is going to turn out. Thinking that we need to know that before we can take the first step is something that paralyzes us and really keeps us from taking that action that can start to move the needle, that can start to take us into the territory of where we want to go. I always think of it, it's kind of like, crossing a bridge in the fog. You don't know, you can't see very far in front of you. Maybe you can only see the next step in front of you, and that's okay. That's what we do. That's what we can create. That's what we trust, and we take the next step that's in front of us. So we don't have to perfect this list of steps and know that if I do everything on this list, then it's going to turn out perfectly. We don't need to do that. Thinking that we need to do that is just the kind of thinking that keeps us stuck. So what we're going to do today is just really allow ourselves to break things down in a way that makes it possible for us to be taking action every single week. Okay, whether that is, a little bit several times a week, or one day, one afternoon, one morning that you devote to this work that you have decided is where you want to go with your life. All right, so remember yesterday I gave you the example so that you could start to see the method in action. I gave you the example of the retreat center that me and I have a vision for. And I gave you some of the ideas that we came up with of things that we already had, things that we would need, and how we might obtain some of those things, right? That was your brainstorming activity. Now, from there, we get to start to create steps, and there could be 20, there could be 100. It doesn't matter how many you decide right now. You just need a few to get going. And then once you get going, you're going to know, maybe this step that I put down, I decided I don't really need that at all, but oh, I thought of these 3 or 4 other steps that I do really need in order to keep going forward. And that's how we make things happen, right? So let me give you some examples with respect to the retreat center so you can get a feel for what actionable steps could look like, all right? Number one, we said get a book on running a retreat center. We can start looking at the marketing of other retreat centers online, right? See what I can learn, what I might need to think about. And then this goal, right, can be broken down further. And you could say, I'm going to schedule a 15-minute session to do that. I'm going to schedule 30 minutes to do that, right? You don't have to have that as a big action step where you're like, that's going to take, several times for a whole week. Actually, write that down. 30 minutes of market research and have something so specific and so doable that you don't have all that resistance around actually diving in and getting some stuff done. We also said we start developing ideas for various retreats. Actually, we've taken this step, a big whiteboard that's just full of these incredible ideas for that. And this really feeds your desire to keep going, right? As well as develops the curriculum that we want to use. Talk to people who run retreats or have been to a lot of retreats, and then here, list those people and set a goal to say, I'm going to talk to one person every week or whatever makes sense for you. 2 people, 3 people every week, whatever it is, it doesn't matter so much what the step is, as long as you're putting that and making time for it, deciding what the step will be and making time for it. So see how we're really taking steps and we're breaking them down into tiny actionable steps. 30 minutes of market research, speak to one person, make the list of people who I want to reach out to as a step, right? So when I have this great big step of I need to find people and talk to people, interview them and all of that, that's a big thing, right? That feels big, and that is going to sit on my list of things to do for months, right? And I'm speaking to you from experience. I know how this works. I know how the human brain works, right? When we have these big things on our to-do list, we're not going to get to it, right? But when we have, make a list of the people who you'd like to call on. Okay, you have on your list this week, reach out to one person that you're going to want to get some information from. So you see the difference between, having this big goal out here that's kind of, fuzzy, and having something really streamlined that you can go to and accomplish something. And that is so powerful for your brain. That is so powerful for you identifying with yourself as someone who is doing this. Every time I take a step in this direction and do something that's on our list, I identify myself more and more as someone who runs a retreat center, right? And that's the energy that keeps us moving forward more and more and more into that goal. Okay. Some other things are start looking for property just to get an idea of the areas that might be available. So here, you'd want to list 4 or 5 areas I might visit, when, maybe find a real estate agent and that would be able to have knowledge, maybe just talk to them, have an opening kind of conversation around that. Start talking to some close, trusted friends for guidance and support. Again, I would list these people. So I want to talk to, my good friend. I want to talk to this acquaintance that again, that's kind of like with respect to the people that might have knowledge in this area, but also people who know me and who would be willing to support me or show me some blind spots or whatever it is. Schedule a meeting with the banker to talk about financing possibilities. Think about whether this is a big one, and I really, really want you to make sure that this one is written down for you, okay? I want you to start to think about whether there's a way to start fulfilling your purpose on a smaller scale. All right, so we have this dream, this retreat center that we own, that we run completely, but how can we start on a smaller scale? Well, we already did this. We're doing retreats online for now, and we're also rent places where we hold our retreats. So this gets us in the energy. This makes us closer and closer to this bigger goal that we have. So how can you start fulfilling your purpose on a small scale? Maybe your idea is to create a coaching business or write a book or something like that. Can you write a chapter and share it with 10 people that you know? Can you start, take somebody free and start getting a sense of what it would be like to coach? And you know what I mean? So we're taking it and we're feeding the energy of what we want on a smaller scale. And that really helps us, again, identify ourselves as somebody who does that, has that already. And it provides us incredibly valuable information as we figure out what we need to do and the timing and the steps and all the things. This is okay. This is another one that you have to do. I have a book, and I encourage you to get one too. This is Big Idea Book, right? And this book is so fun because it is just a place for your imagination to run wild, absolutely wild. Every day, sitting down or several times a week, spending 10 minutes just imagining what would it be like to be in the place where I'm headed, right? What would it be like, or what ideas do I have? Just everything, and letting that come through and really honoring that vision and connecting with it in a book like that is one of the most important things that you can do. So I definitely want on your list thinking about how you could start fulfilling your purpose today on a smaller scale. And I definitely want on your list setting aside times for you to just dream and imagine what it's going to be like to have achieved, as you're getting closer and closer, having achieved what it is that you set out to do. All right. And this next one, such a powerful one, is to set aside some time just to meditate on your vision. Very similar to the journaling about it, except you can, in this relaxed space of quiet, right? Getting still with your vision. What are the kinds of things that are going to come up for you, and how are you going to really allow those feelings that you're really after, that we spent time on day one and really solidifying day two? How does it feel, and what are the images that come up for you in doing that? So these are 3 steps that you can do regardless of what your vision is, right? All of us are going to have these 3 things on our list of things to do, and these are just as important as going out and doing the other kinds of actions. These are probably more important, right? Start holding yourself out to people that you know. What do you do? Well, if you don't create this big story, right? But if you're, say, you're working as in an office of some kind, whatever, but I'm also dabbling in XYZ, right? Because you want to start really identifying with the vision that you have for yourself. Okay. Um, so this may take, I mean, look, this is going to take a little bit of time, effort, energy, life force, right? There's no denying that. But it's important to you. It's important to you because, and I know that because you signed up for the challenge, and I know that because you're here doing the work. And if that wasn't important to you, there's no way you'd be watching this video. There's no way you'd be taking the time to write things down and to go through this. So this is important to you, no question about that. Now we have to figure out, how are you going to integrate this into your life? How are you going to make space in your life? All right. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but the most important thing is that you have to realize that we have to create some space for this and then protect it. Okay, so we are going to again, that's a topic for tomorrow, but I want you thinking about that right now. As you go through this, what kinds of time frames would best fit you? Okay, if it really is something that you can squeeze 15 minutes in here and there, that's fine, but create your steps in a way that honors that, right? Don't make your steps something that take 2 or 3 hours if you don't really see yourself being able to create a 2 or 3 hour block. It doesn't mean all of that stuff isn't going to get done. It just means that we want to be really smart about how we break it down so that it's something that fits into a realistic time frame in your life. Now, this is something that I really want to draw your attention to because at this point in the process, you've done enough thought, you've done enough work in here to start recognizing, people, this is the point where they say, wow, I really see how, as I'm being called to write this stuff down, I realize I've got some fear around, taking these steps, or some limiting beliefs about my worthiness or my ability or whatever it is. And we're going to dive deep into the blocks that people typically see on Saturday on day 6. But I want you to start, noticing that right now, because the very, very important thing that we're going to do with you is have a one-on-one accelerated call that's just free, part of the challenge, because every single one of you is going to have a block of some kind. It may be a big one, it may be a small one, it doesn't matter. We all have blocks, and we want to make sure that we are identifying what they are and helping you move through them, so that all of these steps, you can take the steps and thereby create the result that you want. But we have to be aware of what those blocks are. So today I want you to, in addition to your integration work, which is in your workbook, day 4, I want you to sign up for the accelerated call with us. And by doing so, you're going to be able to talk about your vision. We're going to figure out, what's most important to you, how the steps are going for you, how you're going to integrate them. And then most importantly, what are some of the blocks that have come up in the past and coming up for you now, that are standing in the way of this really becoming your reality? Okay, that is what we're here to do. The content is here in the daily videos and all of that, but in order to help you with your particular blocks, and maybe, not even being able to necessarily see exactly what they are, that's what we're here to do with you. So after you watch this video, sign up for an free accelerated call with Mia and I. One of us is going to talk with you about that and show you how you're going to take this information forward and really create whatever it is that you showed up here to do. So I just really want to thank you and honor you for showing up, for doing this work. And I know we've talked about it a lot of times, but the things that you're doing right now for yourself in your own life have implications that extend so far beyond you. You are changing your loved ones, your friends, your work environment, the people on your street, the people in your community, and it's reverberating out into the whole world. And that is such a beautiful thing. That's why me and I do this work, because we think that it does have a global impact, every single one of us, right? So thank you. I honor you. I honor your journey. Sign up for your accelerated call, and please remember to post your homework in the Facebook group, because that's a way that we're able to be in there coaching you, guiding you, supporting you. You're helping the other people in the group, and all of the good ideas, right? And we're feeding off each other, and really able to see beyond, our own thinking, and be open to the amazing ideas of everyone else. I'm always learning from you guys, and I so appreciate that. So homework, right? Integration work posted in the Facebook group. Sign up for your accelerated call today. Those are available from now until next Friday. So we'll find a time for you, so that we can really move you forward and take you where you want to go. All right. Have a wonderful day, and good luck with this integration work. Any questions at all, make sure you're asking us. You've got the Facebook group. You can email us, whatever works better. And keep up the good work. Just super proud of you all. All right. Take care.